Hello, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald,
I'm Bark Bark.
and we are going to show you how to play Bark Avenue by Terredice Games.
Yes. We are dipping into our fun November month, so it's kind of just like a hodgepodge, potables month.
It's a grab bag.
Grab bag, there we go.
And usually for grab bags, we let Jen choose one of the games that we're going to play, and so she chose Bark Avenue. She's actually going to be playing with us later.
Yes. So here's a high-level overview of the board. Pretty much, we're going to go through. It's a very simple game. We'll talk about how to set up the board, how to set up a player, the concept of what you do across your game turns, and then how to score at the end of the game.
Woohoo! All right. So I guess we can go over the card setup to begin with. Keeps it pretty simple. So for each player, they're going to be given 2 dog cards, and the pile of which the dog cards come out on, there we are, is going to be out of the same pile you're using for the game. And there is some variation to the different dog cards you're using based on the different sides of the board, which Steve will explain. But each person gets a dog card, and they'll get to choose which one they want to keep. They will put it down in the slot, and then the other one will go back into the pile. Additionally, each player will get 2 goal cards. You will look at them, choose which one you want to keep it face down, and the other one goes back into the goal deck. Now, if you're playing with only 2 players, 3 of these cards are going to be removed because they're only for 3 or more players at a time. So you can just put those off to the side as well. Once the goal cards are chosen, that deck can be put off the side too. It's not going to be used any longer. And then we have on the board.
So we have here is our event deck. Similar to what Nick mentioned with the personal goals, some of these events are for 3 or more players. Those will just get removed. They have little identifiers on them. The rest of the events will get shuffled and stacked right there. And at the top of the game board here, we have where the dogs go. So once the players have received their dogs, you're going to have a setup of dogs here. So we have 2 decks, 1 and 2, as you can see here. 1 points to this side of the game board, 1 points to this side. In a 3 or more player game, you'll just combine them and shuffle them completely. In a 2-player game, you're only going to be playing with one side of the board. So this one will get removed. These will get shuffled, and you will have a pile here. You will layer them out based on your player count. So 3, 4, 5 will get extra. You're guaranteed at least 4. So you will lay out the dog cards as such. That is the setup for these cards. We will talk about what all of these mean, how they interact momentarily. A few additional things for the game board itself is we have this little sun tracker. This will be our round tracker. Every time you finish a cycle, you'll go down the board and different interactions and events and things will occur. You have 2 game dice, one for while you're in the forest park area, the other while you're in the city spaces that you'll be using on your game turns. And then off to the side of the board here, we have some cash, we have some coffee tokens, we have some bones, as well as all of the rest of the stuff that players may need. Mm-hmm. And that is as simple as it is to set up this game.
Yeah, an important reminder is choose your side of the board if you're playing with 2 players first before you give out your dogs. You don't want to be taking a dog that's on the opposite side of the board that you can't even get to.
That is true. That would be hilarious.
That would be amazing. Like, damn, how the hell do I get over there? All right. So we want to go over the player boards, or we want to go over...
Let's just start with the game board real quick. So the concept of this game, we'll start there, is you're going to be walking dogs. So as you walk dogs, there's different activities that you can do. So if you look at the different quadrants here, each quadrant is color-coded with gray lines in between. Gray lines just separate the neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Each neighborhood has different activities you can do. So this one you can see there's water, which is called Splash. There's a coffee shop. That's how you get the coffee tokens. And there's a bunch of different things throughout the game board on both sides. In the park in the middle, you also have a fun one for a frisbee, so you can play fetch with your dog. As you progress across the game board and walk these dogs, you do different things which helps you earn cash, will help you complete your personal goals, as well as you gain money from the dogs themselves after you successfully walk them. So, for the game board, you'll have the dog, so we'll go to Nick's board right there, that you start with.
So I have Pabby, which is from 96 in Amsterdam.
So you'll go up. 96 in Amsterdam is this blue section. You'll start at any of the 4 corners. Your choice, but there is strategy because you're going to try to travel these neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Once you've done that, that is what each player will do. Then you find out who walked a dog most recently in real life, and then you pick that person, you go clockwise in turn order.
Yeah.
But before that, now we can hop to you. There we go.
All right, so let's go over the player board here to see everything that we have down here. I'll let Steve explain the dog cards, but your dog cards you're walking will go in these upper areas here. And at the beginning of the game, obviously you have one dog, but in general, you only have space for 2 dogs. This third one you can see is marked in a special way. You need to unlock that space by removing this review star, which we'll go over how to remove these stars in a moment. But the setup for your board is very simple. You have your tokens off to the side, your dog card here, your objective card off to the side as well. You have a reference card, and then your review stars will go onto each of these star spaces. Down below your dogs here, you have your activities and the turns for walking your dog. So when you get a dog that you're walking, you'll be placing your walk token onto the number 1 spot with the paw side up. I will mention on these dog cards, they all do have a paw image with a number in them, 3, which means when I get to this 3 spot when walking a dog, that will flip over. And then that effectively means it'll start going backwards. And we'll go over again when that moves and why in a moment. But that little dog paw will always go to the number 1 spot when you when you start walking a dog. You have your little squishy poops here. So when your dog does the poop action, you just place that right onto the poop spot. Same with the picture, and then same with the fun activity action. Whenever you do one of those, you'll be putting that on there, and we'll go over why it is important to do these activities with the dogs in a moment as well. Down the side here, you do have some reference on what you do on your turn. So it does tell you at the beginning of your turn, you roll. Number 2, you move. Number 3, you take your actions. And then number 4, you track. This is the track marker. And again, we'll cover that more in depth in a moment. Up here, you have your actions. If you have no dogs, which this first symbol means, then it means you move at a speed of 4 spaces, and you can use trains. And again, in a moment, we'll explain what using trains is. But that is really it for this board. It's very simple, very clear. It's 3 of the same, and yeah, pretty much ready to walk your dogs.
Yeah. So to the main game board, let's just say that Nick was the first player. He would start off every turn, as he just mentioned with that reference, is rolling a die. You're going to roll green if you're on any of the green space, white if you're anywhere else. And that gives you a set of actions. So this is the puddle action. It literally means do nothing. So you get no advantage, but no disadvantage.
Your dog peed.
Yes. If you land on the poop action, or the poop side of the die, that's how you get that little symbol added onto your dog's player board. If you happen to have multiple dogs, and you get the black one as shown here, you choose which one to add that little poop marker onto.
Only 1 dog poops at a time with that black poop.
Yes, on this die, there happens to be a golden poop. That means all dogs can go to the bathroom at the same time. Back on the white die, you have a +1 to your walking pace. That'll be +1 to the speed of your slowest dog.
Mm-hmm. And you have to move that +1. It's not a choice.
Yes. And then you also have the pigeon. On this die, you have a squirrel. Whatever way this direction points when you roll it, that's the direction you have to travel for 1 space. So if it rolls there, Nick would have to go south 1 space first, and then for the rest of his walking speed, he can go whatever direction he'd like.
Yep.
Same thing with the squirrel, just is the difference between city and park.
Yep.
So now the question becomes, why would I travel certain directions? Where should I go? And that's where the dogs matter. So for the dogs, you can see here there's 2 different colors. The yellow are solo dogs, meaning on the base version, you cannot walk them with other dogs. So if you get a solo dog, you must have no other dogs in your dog zones. The only way you can walk a solo dog with another dog is by having a bone. So if you're able to get a bone, which you can get at the bone spaces on the board, then you can put it onto your dog card and you can bring a solo dog with another dog. The next piece is you have the dog's name. So this is fun. Luna, Dobby, Kevin, Darrow here. Right underneath it, after it tells you dog type, it'll show you what dogs you can walk. So for solo, again, they're by themselves. For the group dogs, which is the purple symbol, these here can be walked with any dog. They are a small dog. That's why this one is highlighted in black. But there are going to be some that you'll see. For example, Carly here. Carly is a small dog. She cannot be walked with large dogs. So any of your dogs that you already are walking are large dogs, you cannot pick up this dog.
Unless, again, you have a bone.
Unless you have a bone.
Yeah.
So the bone is like your free pass to any of the normal regulations.
Yep.
On the top left here, you'll see that's the speed of that dog that you can walk. Directly below it is your tracker. That's how many spaces it'll move before it starts walking its way home. Or you're walking it home.
All right. See you later.
The top right corner is the special activity. Mm-hmm. That's how you get that little heart symbol on your player board. And then at the bottom left, which is the most important, that is the neighborhood that the dog is in. So for example, West End and 96th, you would have to travel to West End and 96th right here to be able to pick up Luna. You also have to return to West End and 96th to drop off Luna. So you'll go around, you'll do some actions, hopefully gather some of those markers on your player board, and by the time your tracker returns to 1, you have to have returned Luna, or you took her out for too long and now you don't get paid the correct way.
So it's when the tracker comes off the 1.
Yeah, after 1. Yeah, you have until it gets to 1. That's what I mean. And then after 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you're late.
Just to be clear.
Yes. And then the last thing on these dog cards is the cost. And that you're not paying that cost to pick up the dog. That is how much you get paid for walking the dog. Mm-hmm. And that will become endgame scoring. So you won't take cash equivalent to that number when you finish. You just put the dog card off to the side, and that'll be endgame scoring that you'll calculate.
Yep. All right.
So, as you walk a dog, Nick, what things do you want to look for, and how do you get these fun stars?
So, as you walk a dog, and so as Steve mentioned, the speed at which you're walking is equivalent to your slowest dog. So, if you have 2 dogs, one that has a speed of 4, which is the little shoe icon, and one that has a speed of 3 in the little shoe icon, you can only move 3 spaces at a time. So if I was starting here, then I can only go 1, 2, 3. You can go to any of the dots, but you have to move 3, and you can only move at max the speed of your slowest dog. When you move to a location, like we see here, you have a hydrant symbol and a bone symbol. So here you get to take one action after you move. So the action could be to pick up another dog if there's a dog in that neighborhood. The action could be to drop off a dog if the dog is ready to be dropped off, or you can take one of the actions in the location. So you can take this hydrant action, which is the fun action. So that's where you have the hydrant ball or water, the splash mark, or you can choose to buy a bone by visiting a shop. Or if you were over here, you could buy a coffee by visiting a shop, and doing so would cost you $2 to buy a bone or to buy a coffee. Now, of course, at the beginning of the game, you don't have any money to do so. We'll explain how you get money in a moment. If you were down here, there's a little camera symbol. You'd be taking the photo op action, and you put the photo onto your player board like I showed you previously. But if you want to go down to the player board, I'll show them the tracker here that I mentioned beforehand. So after each turn, you're going to advance your tracker up by 1 space. And after each turn, like I said, you can do it again. So for Pabby here, this paw print says 3. When this gets to 3, like I said beforehand, this flips over. So now, after each full turn, this will start to go down back towards the 1. And this is where Steve mentioned, once this gets to the 1, if on your next turn, you did not return the dog and this comes off, you did not successfully return Pabby on time. And you get no benefit from returning Pabby on time like you would by doing so. You still get the dog's card, but you don't get tips and you don't get review stars.
Correct.
But if you return Pabby on time, you do get some perks.
Yeah, and so to return Pabby, it says 96 in Amsterdam. So Nick would have to be in this location here.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. He would have to be in this location here. He is. Pabby can be completed. That would be his action that turn.
Yep.
So just like you'd pick up a dog with an action, you're returning a dog with an action.
Yep.
But returning has an extra benefit, and that is this line up here. So what Nick will do is identify, did he successfully complete anything that he hasn't already completed before?
Mm-hmm. I have a perfect walk. I completed all 3 of the objectives with Pabby.
Yes. So hypothetically, let's say he did the perfect walk, which he did. Let's say that was with a solo dog. He cannot put 1 on the solo dog as well. Mm-hmm. You can only place 1 star down at a time. So that'll slowly reveal your review board. The only caveat is if you walked a dog like Rockland here, Rockland has this little star symbol. So instead of getting cash at the end of victory points, you'll get the foster dog marker. So that is the only time you can place 2 review stars at once.
Yeah, so it lets you put down the foster dog and additionally any other review star if you completed such.
Yeah, so if you walked a second foster dog, you can't place 2 stars at that point. You can only place the 1 that you've completed.
Yep.
But this is the first time it allows you to get 2 right off the bat, which can be advantageous real early.
Yeah, and you can only ever have 1 star per spot on here. And these stars are removed from your board from the bottom up.
Yes.
And as you remove stars, you get perks.
You do, which I'll have Nick cover the perks in a moment, but we'll cover the other ones here. So any walk means
Sounds
you just...
good.
What?
No, it sounds good.
Oh, okay. So any walk means you just finished a walk, you didn't do anything else, but it allows you to get a review star.
It's a freebie, like in bingo, the middle space.
Yeah. Well-rounded means you've walked a dog of all 3 sizes. The foster dog we just explained. Perfect walk is the 3 little symbols. 3 dogs mean you've unlocked your 3rd dog, so you have to do that first. And now you're currently walking 3 dogs. So when you return your dog, you had 2 other dogs currently being walked. Mm-hmm. Expert means you have 3 dogs of the same size that you've now completed walking. You have 2 solo walks. So that just means walking a solo, but without using the bone. So you cannot use the bypass free action there that the bone gives you. You just have to walk a solo dog, which is harder because you can only walk 1 dog and not up to 3 at that point.
Yep.
The treat trained would be the opposite. You can do a solo walk or something else, but you use the treat. Mm-hmm. And then the very final one is local, meaning you're walking multiple 3 dogs, I think, from the same neighborhood. Or you've walked 3 dogs from the same neighborhood. You don't have to currently be walking them, but I think it's the 3rd one of the same neighborhood.
Yeah, and this varies based on player count as well. That's why there's a different color here. So in a 3 or more player game, you have to walk 3 dogs from the same neighborhood. In a 1 or 2 player game, it's only 2 dogs from the same neighborhood.
Yes. So a perfect example right here would be if you had a Luna and Carly, and let's just say we had a treat on Luna to be able to do this.
Or sorry, I said that backwards. My apologies. 1 or 2 is 3 dogs in the same neighborhood.
Yes.
3 players or more is 2 dogs in the same neighborhood.
Yes. So if we're playing a 3-player game, which will be later today, if we had this scenario here, use the treat on Luna to walk both these dogs together. You finish walking one of them, you can mark the local space off.
Yep.
So now, as Nick mentioned, by doing these and gaining review stars, you gain the perks under those review stars.
Yeah, so like I said, you're going to be removing review stars from the bottom first and then going up. So the first perk that you get is this Frisbee action. When you're in a park location that has that little Frisbee icon that Steve pointed out earlier, instead of taking one of the other actions there, you can choose to take that Frisbee action. And what this does is it advances your walker 2 spaces in whatever direction that it's going, instead of just the normal 1 at the end of the turn. So it's either going to go from 1 to 2, 3 here in this situation, or it could go from 3 down to 2, 1. So if you need to speed up a walk to try and return dogs, that's a great way to do it.
Because you cannot, one thing we didn't call out, you cannot return the dog when it's on the dog paw side of that marker.
Correct.
You have to walk them their full entirety. On the way home, you can do it at any point in time. So this allows you to quickly get to that home symbol and then hopefully return it fast.
Exactly. So it's probably going to be most beneficial when you're trying to get to that home symbol, not afterwards.
Yeah.
Next up, you have the coffee and bone icon. So here you get to choose if you'd like to gain a bone or a coffee. Only 1, and you get it for free. After that, you unlock that 3rd dog spot on your board. Next, you unlock an extra action turn. And when this is unlocked, you get to take that extra action right away. And so this means that every turn, instead of only being able to perform 1 action, you now get to perform at least 2.
But there is a caveat there as well. Based on the structure of the game, when you move, you have to complete your full movement first.
Yes.
Then you can take 2 actions. So you can't move 1 space, take an action, move 2 and 3, and then take another action. You have to go to a neighborhood, finish in that, or you have to walk actually the whole. So if you have a 3 walk speed, you have to walk exactly 3 spaces.
Yep.
Not more, not less. And then you can take 2 actions if you have that unlocked.
Yep. So that's where your strategy comes into play, to try and get to a spot where you can do multiple things that you may need to do for 1 dog or different dogs. Then lastly is just a bonus at the end. So this is just a reward for you getting your last review star off the board. You'll get those $10. Now, something I want to mention about these review stars. You do not get a review star if you return a dog late. You only get a review star if you return a dog on time. And you do not need to complete all 3 of the objectives for the dog, the poop, the photo, and the fun action, to get a review star. Even if you only do one of these, or if you do none of these, you'll still get a review star as long as you return the dog on time.
But why should you do those 3 actions? What does that give you?
That's how you get money. So on the card, Steve explained beforehand that this does not give you money to use in-game. This is points at the end of the game. Instead, the way you get money in-game is by completing these. For each of these that you have completed, and if you returned your dog on time, you will get $2. So you can get a maximum of $6 per dog in the normal rounds to use during the game. Of course, this money is in turn used to buy coffee and to buy bones. What's coffee used for?
Coffee is used for the same thing that 4th star is. It gives you extra actions, but it doesn't last forever. So when you get that 4th star unlocked, you get every single turn there on out, you get a second action. But for coffee here, this little fun symbol that you can get at the coffee shops, you get on the side one extra action.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you use it, you flip the symbol over. Then you get 1 additional action a second time.
You can only do it once per turn, though.
Correct. So I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to use action 2 and action 3, boom, boom. So I can do action 2, my following turn I can then use this again. The coffee just lasts forever. So if I use it once, I can wait 4 more turns before using it again. But as soon as you use it a second time, then it's discarded.
Yep.
We'll give you a fun scenario on the board, just to give you an example. So if Nick had this dog here.
Okay.
So if he's walking Luna.
Yep.
Luna is 96th in West End. So let's say he was walking Luna. It's on the house side on the 3. Your house is on the 3. There we go. Okay. So he's trying to get Luna back.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say he has the photograph there.
Sure.
So now what will happen is, let me just tee this up correctly. Because I had an example and then it just didn't work with the location that I wanted it to be in.
Ah.
That's annoying. Does none of these have what I want it to have? Well, we're here now. Okay.
We're trying to do like a 2-action thing.
Yep. That's fine. This is fine. So, Nick has Luna. He's about to return her. So, if we look at the game board here, Nick goes up to West End. He completes his action, which is going to be returning Luna.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say he had a coffee. So, he returns Luna every time.
Yep.
So, he returns Luna. That's his main action. So, Luna comes off. He gets his $2. So now, Nick has coffee. He's like, ooh, I'm in a location that has another dog up here called Carly.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to now use the coffee. He can pick up a new dog.
Yep.
Because Luna was a solo dog, he couldn't pick up Carly at the same time he picked up Luna the first time to use a coffee. So he had to walk Luna, give up the solo dog. Now he can pick up the second dog, but he can do that in that same turn order, on the same turn. If he had that 4th star unlocked and he was in a location, let's say like 96 in Amsterdam up here that had the photo symbol and there was 2 dogs, he could pick up a dog and take that photo action. And if he had a coffee, he could also grab a bone. Mm-hmm. So you can combo in this game. So it's important to see what dogs are available and move accordingly to be able to pick up things, do multiple actions at the same time. You will want money at the end of the game for endgame scoring, which we'll cover shortly.
Yes.
But utilizing coffee is a huge benefit in this game.
Yeah. And so now before we jump over to the round track, we do want to look at movement without dogs because it is slightly different.
So if I was here, so for me, I have no dogs currently. Mm-hmm. I've walked the dogs I had, or I just stuck at this life and don't have any dogs.
But you don't have dogs, so you apparently do.
So I'm sitting here on 96th and West End. As you can see, there's a train symbol. Mm-hmm. For example, let's say we're playing a 3-player game, and there is a dog on 59th and 2nd Avenue that I want to pick up that's sitting up here.
Oh, that's park.
Yep. So I'm at the train station. I can use my movement and say, 1, enter the train, come on over here. And then I can just go 2, 3, 4, however many movements I have to finish my move.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can pick up that dog with that action. Where normally, if I was sitting like over here, I'd have to walk all the way over here. And that would take a long time. And I would definitely lose the game. So you can take these train locations. There's 2 on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Only if you do not have any dogs.
Yep. You
still can complete your movement. So if I started here, I can go 1 out of my 4, 2, 3, 4. So you still have to do your full movement.
And you can move out of the train spots too. So just
sure.
both examples you
yeah.
So you can go the 1, 2, and then 3, 4.
Yeah, so there's a dog there or something. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's definitely the easy way for if you're playing a 3-player game or more to get to both sides of the map. In a 2-player game, we tested it. We don't really need to use the train. It came really key at the end. I made one move to like block a space, which we'll cover how that works when we go over the round track.
Additionally, if you don't have a dog, you don't have to roll this die at the beginning because this die is only specific to dogs. The pooping, the peeing, the bird. Hopefully you as a person are not getting distracted and chasing down birds and squirrels. But hey, so if you don't have a dog, you don't have to roll this. You just do your forward movement to get to where you got to get to pick up your next dog.
So now let's say, so Nick has made some movements. I made my movement for the turn. We're like, okay, turn 1 is over. So we take this little sun tracker. We move it down 1. As you can see, each of the following circles has a symbol. Symbols are very straightforward. Mm-hmm. Symbol 1 means pick an event card. You would pick it, read it, that event is now in play.
Yep. There's a couple different types of events, or 2 different types, I believe, and that's it. Yeah. So the 2 different types of events, there are just instant events that happen. Can you see that? Good there? Yeah.
Yep.
Instant events that happen right away with this caution symbol. And then there's reoccurring events. So this means this happens one time. The moment you pull it, the blue reoccurring means it stays in effect the entire time until another event is pulled.
Yep. And then the second part is, or second type of space here at the top is reorganization of dogs. So recycling some dogs. So, hold on. So in this scenario here, Nick had picked up a dog. So before we even move the round tracker, we first fill in the space. So you always have the full spot. Now, this recycling means you get rid of the last 2, you slide these over, and then you deal 2 new ones in. The ones you discard would just go to the end of the line here in the discard pile, and that'll just grow. There is no way to get those dogs back.
No.
So that's something to pay attention to. If there is a dog in a location you need and it's in the last 2 here, you might want to grab it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, especially if it's coming around because the track repeats. So it's the same the entire way down.
So now,
boom, event.
What happens there?
So when we get down here in these 4 sections and each of these turns, that means that all the dogs at the top will have $2 on them. There's an increased tip during this phase, during these 4 rounds here. So if you pick up one of those dogs, you'll take the $2 with it. When you return the dog on time, you will get that additional tip. And once this comes off from that track, if you have a dog with that tip money on there already, then it'll stay on there ready for you, but it'll come off from anyone who's left up here at the top.
Yep.
Then we have the very bottom down here. So these 3 spaces are a little bit special.
Yep, so when you get, so this is kind of nearing the end game again. So as soon as you get to the last space, that is your final turn. There is no other way to trigger. So you got to kind of pay attention to how the game is progressing, what the other players are doing. So when you get to this first one here, that says remove the dogs. So you'd come up here, you'd remove all of these dogs. You would not replace them with any new ones. That just means there's no new dogs to pick up.
Yep.
Additionally, right next to that is a coffee and a star symbol, which is the review stars. So if Nick here had some review stars over on the left-hand side, he now can no longer pick up any dogs. He has 1 dog that he's trying to return, so that'll be something he's thinking about. But what he can do is, for example, let's say that... No, keep that.
That's me.
Yeah, no, keep that. Let's say he went to West End. So at West End, there's a coffee shop. There's also the location where the dog he currently owns. So he can take 1 action is to return the dog appropriately. Now he has endgame scoring. he also uses his coffee to place one of those review stars on this location. That will now help with one of the aspects of endgame scoring. The second to last one there is no more event cards. So the event deck, gone. And then the third one is sunset. So you finish that, you flip the token over, and the game is ended.
Yep.
And at that point, you calculate the endgame scoring for each player. Whoever has the most, which is all dollar-based, would win.
And just for added clarity for these last 3 spots for those coffees, what you're doing here is advertising yourself. So you can only place a review star on these coffee shops from the ones unlocked down the side, and only if you have no more dogs you're walking. If you're walking a dog, you cannot place a review star on any coffee spot, and only 1 review star can go on each coffee spot. So if I get this one, that means Steve can't have it.
Yep. So that's why in that example here, he had to return the dog here at 96 and West End first,
Yep.
and then use the coffee to place the review star as his second action.
Exactly. Yeah, then the endgame scoring is very easy. You have your dogs.
Let's go right to you.
Right. So you have your dogs, right? So you're going to add up the totals on the bottom down here. So I have a total of 40 between all of these. The foster dogs don't add anything additional. They give you a perk during the game of being able to place an additional star. So right now here I have 40. Then you have whatever cash you have left over. So here I have a total of 8. So right now I'm at 48. Then lastly, you have your objective card. So this one says one size fits all. So I get $10 per set. I don't have a full set. I missed the big dog. But if I match this, I would get an additional 10 every time that I walked a set of 3 dogs here. And of course, these objectives vary at the end of the game. So this will not be added to my total. So my total score here would be 48.
But wait, there's more. Because Nick happened to add a review star. So what will happen with the review star is every review star you have out at a coffee shop when the game ends, you'll pull it off and you'll get 4 additional tip dollars.
There we go. All right. 52.
Yes. So yeah, each player will do that. You sum it up. Whatever player has the most dollar values worth of tips will be considered the king of dogs, the
queen of dogs, the dog walker, the wagger,
the white dog walker,
the
white walker.
What do they call it? The rover, right? The
Roomba? I don't know.
The Roomba.
Whatever you want to call it. You come up with a name, put it in our comments section.
There you go. Exactly. But simple game, fun game, easy strategy, casual game that's nice to jump into, very lighthearted, easy little reference card that they have as well for all the players, and simple round structure, which is great.
Yep. Yeah, we tested this the other day. It can play in a good 35, 45 minutes. Again, it goes pretty quick with this round track.
Yeah, the rounds go very, very quickly to the point where Jen wants to just play this without any kind of end to the game. So just keep on walking dogs. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you for joining us here as we showed you how to play Bark Avenue. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments of the video. Sometimes we do. Terredice Games, if you happen to see this video and you want to elaborate on something that maybe we explained incorrectly, please let everybody know. Definitely get this down onto your table, especially if you have a dog lover in your life. Can't go wrong with Bark Avenue. But thank you for joining us here at Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald.
I'm bored.
Watch your dogs.